I'm Lorraine Beeman, an interview coach who helps people excel in interviews by sharing insights and strategies for answering questions like, what is your greatest weakness? The logic behind this question, the reason that employers ask it, is because one of the traits that most employers really value is a person's ability to self-evaluate their performance and take corrective action. This question and the answer that you prepare gives you an opportunity to show that you excel in this area. So the first step is to determine a work-related weakness that you're going to build your question around. I'm going to give you an example, so hopefully you'll see how this all blends together. Let's say that your weakness is procrastination. Whenever we respond to the weakness question, we start by giving a positive statement, then we identify the weakness, and then we end with another positive statement. So again, let's say that procrastination is your weakness. You might respond by saying, I do my best work under pressure. That means that sometimes I procrastinate so that I can do a project right before it's due. I know that this can make other people nervous, so I have learned a few tricks to make sure that I don't make them nervous, but I get that adrenaline rush I need to be successful. And one of the things I do is I set my own personal deadline prior to the deadline for a project. Now, what that means is that I demonstrate the fact that I get projects done. And because my employer knows that I work well under pressure, they're very comfortable assigning me last-minute projects. This answer started with the positive, that I do great work under pressure, talks about the fact that you procrastinate so that you have that experience, but that you have developed a method for dealing with it, but also you're the go-to person when there's a project that has to be done. I'm going to give you another example too, just so that you maybe have a little bit more perspective on how to build your answer. So let's say that your weakness is you don't deal well with conflict. Very common issue for many people. So let's build that positive, talk about the weakness, and then talk about how you handle it. And before I start, when you identify your weakness, there is a reason that you have that weakness, which I want you to identify because that will help you build your answer. But in this case, I'm going to just give you an example of how to answer that question. What is your greatest weakness when the weakness you want to talk about is avoiding conflict? So I'm asked, what is your greatest weakness? And I can respond, I like to work in a collaborative, supportive atmosphere. That means that I am not fond of conflict. I don't like dealing with conflict. I know that about myself. And so I take the steps to ensure that I work well with my team, and that if there is a conflict, I handle it by listening, sharing, and encouraging people to move beyond.